the next page she had was a contract that she uses, and she has a lot of this stuff on her Craftsy class, and it's a lot more in detail. So I would suggest going and checking out her Craftsy class. Hopefully we can have her do her explanation of it, but we have, as a breakdown, this is the contract. So it's a lot of the same information that is on the worksheet, but you can actually do it more professional and more, well done and neat for the client. So, and these are, if you have a cake decorating business, you should already have things like this. And if not, you definitely need to put things like this in place. But these are some really great ideas, and if you have something in place, maybe these can be some good ideas on things that you can do to improve. And let's see. So let's see. This is the contract for her. I guess she even has on here the florist, in case you have a florist actually putting the flowers onto the cake. I think that's a good idea to have that information so that you can contact the florist if you need to, or to even say on there that I'm not responsible for the flowers because you didn't want me to be, so here's the florist. This is who's responsible for that, and it will keep you safer that way. I think that's a good idea. And then the bottom half of that worksheet, again, the style. If you're doing Liz Merrick's way of doing things, you could actually print out a picture for them. But this right here, if you do a rough sketch for them or whatever it is that you do for yours, let's see, there's pricing. This is the way that she breaks down her pricing. I'm not all that familiar with it, so I don't know how, if I can be that expert on what she does. It really depends on, cake pricing is a really big thing. I know that there are constantly questions on how much do you charge for this, and how do you set up a charging, or a cake serving or cost estimate thing, So, and there are, I think there's Cake Boss that's out there that helps, figure out those kinds of things. Helps you to figure out, how much per ingredient you should be charging, and then how much you should be charging on top of that. And so, there's a lot of things that go into that. So, it looks like she has, let's see, cake per serving and then total servings. So I guess that, is she?
She's restarting her computer.
Oh, okay. She says she's restarting her computer, so hopefully that will help her out and get her back on. But in the meantime, let's see, extra cake per serving, and I really will have to have her talk you through this, because this is nothing like what I would use to do my my costs. But I like the idea that she has the rental and the delivery fee in there, because some people have the bases that the cake stands and things that your cakes can sit on. Some people provide them free of charge. Some people have a rental fee. Some people have just a part of the deposit. And I guess it all depends on how you want to run things. Sometimes people give that rental fee back once they get their stand back, which I did that because I always wanted to get my stuff back. And if you're holding a check, a separate check saying, okay, you're paying for, for this, and I'm holding this check. If you bring it back, you get the check back. If you don't, then I'm cashing this check because I need to, I need to cover myself for this cake stand, because it can start to add up. They're not cheap. So total servings, or I mean the delivery fee also. Some people just add that into their, into everything. Some people have a separate delivery fee. Some people give you the option of picking up the cake from the shop or not. Me personally, I always delivered. I just didn't even make that an option, and so I just put that into the cost of the cake. And so it's a personal thing. If you decide to do, an actual delivery fee to where people can say, hey, I don't want to pay that delivery fee, so let me come pick it up. So let's see, and then a deposit. A deposit is really important, and you want to have that deposit before you. Oh, back? You're back. I don't see you yet.
Smiling. Thank you.
I hear you, though. That's wonderful. Yay.
So sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Hold
that's
on.
All right. Don't have your image back yet, but I do see you. I mean, I do hear you, so that's, I guess, the most important part. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's quite all right. This is, again, we're talking about going live. Things like this happen. So welcome back, Lisa. I'm glad you're back.
Thank you.
Okay, so I was actually trying to make sense of your contract, your wedding contract. I think that the first part of it was pretty self-explanatory. We'll go back to that really fast. So this is the first portion of it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know if anybody had any questions on that. If you do, make sure you ask those questions in the chat box or in the comment section down below if you can't see the chat box. And okay, so like I said, I think that the first part of it is pretty self-explanatory, but the second part of it in the actual pricing. Can you explain how you do the pricing?
Yes. Pricing, that's a whole nother seminar, which I would love to do. Pricing is the hugest topic right now. Very, very basically speaking, when you're pricing a cake, you need to know your costs. And there's a formula to figure out your costs. And this is the cost of your ingredients in a particular recipe. Whether it be the cake or cupcakes or cake pops, whatever it is you're baking, the frosting, your ingredient costs you have to determine per whatever it is you're making. In my Craftsy class, there's a form that will walk you through the steps. Once you know your cost, you're going to figure out your extra costs. So in other words, you're making a 10-inch cake for Amelia's son, and we're going to make a trumpet on the cake. So you take and figure out how much your 10-inch cake costs, how much the frosting that you're going to use for the 10-inch cake costs, and that's going to be one total cost. Then you're going to take the cost of making the trumpet, which is going to be modeling chocolate, it could be gum paste, fondant, whatever your particular technique is. The big part of this cost is your time. And putting a dollar figure on our time, I think for me personally, and I think for most of the people I talk to, is the single biggest challenge in pricing our cakes. Because we undervalue ourselves, or at least most people do. So it's tricky. So to know how to price, you've got to know your cost, then you have to learn this wild card of how much our time is to prepare this item. Generally, basically, one rule of thumb is you figure your labor at 3 times the cost of your ingredients. It works. It evolves. It's a unique formula for every cake we do. So if I'm making your trumpet and I know I have $3 worth of ingredients and it's taking me an hour to make, when I first started, I priced my time at $20 an hour. You know, some things we make might be really, 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 really complicated and hard. It might take us 6 hours, but we can't charge $150 for that. So you have some freedom to take into consideration what our time is worth, but make it a value that your client is willing to pay.
I think that's really true. And this is one thing for people starting out is that how do you gauge how much your time really is worth, because you know you're going to be slower than someone who's been doing this for 20 years.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, or for someone like me, I'm such a perfectionist. I take forever doing everything anyway.
Well, it's so true, Amelia, and that's why it is hard. I don't know if I'm doing more and more in pricing, and there's a lot of detail to it, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But you're so right. I can't tell you how many times I've spent, just like you said, literally 18 hours trying to make something that should have taken me 2 hours. I can't charge my client 18 hours worth because it took me that long. So that's when you have to use your own intelligence and say, realistically, this is how long it should have taken because I chose to take it longer. Makes me look better, it makes my product look better, but my client shouldn't have to pay for that. So you have to come up with that happy medium, which is tricky. I give you that, especially with all the new techniques that are out there that people are doing that are crazy. Yeah. But you got to charge for it. The other thing I want to mention when you're pricing your cakes, after you figure out what your labor's worth, because that's the real key point, I think $20 to start is a good ballpark. So you got your cost of the ingredients, you've got your labor. Don't forget your packaging, like the cake boards, and the box and your labels, because those add up. So make sure you include those.
That is really a big deal, because you really can, you can really just nickel and dime yourself down to you're not making any money because of all of the, all the things that go into making the cake that you didn't think about in the first place, and then
it's true.
Yeah.
And it's true. Really and a lot of times, like I'll do something and I'll cost out an ingredient wrong, and I can't go back. I choose not to go back to my client and say, oh, you know what? I made a huge mistake. I didn't know there was going to be a freeze, so I didn't know strawberries were going to cost me 10 times as much. I didn't know, and this is true, Mad Cow, a couple years ago, the effect it had on dairy products. Didn't know that when I estimated and that's part of the contract. It works in our favor and against us, but to me, that's the cost of doing business. Sometimes you just have to absorb it.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to show this, and we saw the one about the deposit, and so this is actually a paid in full. So how do you do that? Is this like a postcard that you send out, or is this an email that you send?
No, this is a document that I have in Pages, and I fill in the applicable information, and I copy this and I put this right on their contract. And then I send them a copy of their contract indicating that it's paid in full. I just do this because I like the personal touch and it makes it a little different. Mm-hmm. When I first started doing it, I just would enter in the amount paid and the amount due. Then I just added this because it's big, it's pretty, they love it. Weddings, it's more personal. Yeah. So
of course, they want that nice, pretty touch, because like you said, it's a wedding.
So that's how I do my paid in full stamp of approval.
Awesome. Okay, so I want to. We're pretty much out of time, and I'm sorry that we didn't get to cover everything.
I feel badly.
Oh, that's okay. Things like this happen. It's live that happens. So we'll just have to have you back on again sometime.
I would love it.
Yeah, and those of you that want more information on, starting a cake business, helping yourself to make it grow, things about, steps that you need to take, things you need to do, make sure you check out Lisa's Craftsy class. Or pretty close to the same, CakeFu.com/Lisa discount, and that's going to get you 25% off of Lisa's class for the next 24 hours.
And
so Yes, and go like Lisa's Facebook page.
No, I meant if you buy the class, you get me too, because you get to ask me
Oh,
questions.
that's right. Yeah, good point. You do get Lisa's attention when you buy the class. You can ask her all the questions. So if you had any questions here, and sorry that Lisa was dropped.
I am so sorry.
But yeah, you can go and ask Lisa all the questions you want on her Craftsy page. So, all right, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you all next time.
Thank
Bye.
you. Goodbye.